can untap and actually kill you back.
Yep.
So this Amulet deck needs to actually kill its opponent.
Okay, well, we're going to find out if it can right now, as we are going to watch Amulet Bloom and Scapeshift do battle here. Jeff Hoogland against Todd Macaraeg. Tad, excuse me. Todd is not here. Tad is. We're going to start things off with an Amulet Stirrings in round number 2. Take a look at the top couple. And it's unlikely that it'll miss. Mana Confluence will be the selection here for Tad.
Yeah, these decks generally play like upwards of 27, 28 lands. Also 4 copies of Amulet of Vigor, which is, you know, what you're looking for.
An island is land number 2.
And there's the Amulet. Ooh.
Is it Charm? That's a good thing to counter. Does he have another one? No, just a Serum Visions.
Go looking for another one.
So I know that Jarvis Yu, a player that we're familiar with, has gone away from Ancient Stirrings and has gone towards Sleight of Hand in this deck. Your thoughts on that change?
I like it. So Ancient Stirrings is really good at finding the missing Karus, like the Ravnica Bounce lands, or the Amulet of Vigor that you're looking for. But most of the time, you know, you might actually just be looking for a Summer Bloom or something. And so Sleight of Hand kind of does both things, where it doesn't dig as deep as Ancient Stirrings, but it does find you, you know, whatever you want, basically.
Here's Mana Confluence. Found that off Ancient Stirrings a little bit earlier. Now here's Sleight of Hand. So got a little of this, a little of that. There are 3 Sleights here, 3 Stirrings, and 4 Serum Visions. So has found some rooms for some cantrips in this deck. Has Tad. And now here's Summer Bloom. We'll see if this resolves. Izzet Charm's going to take care of that as well here for Jeff.
Izzet Charm certainly looks pretty nice in this matchup.
It's looked good so far. That's for gosh darn sure.
At least when you're on the play.
Flooded Grove is land number 4 here for Jeff. Hasn't done any ramping, just playing lands, countering spells, playing more of a control deck at this point. Here's Amulet. Follow up is Gruul Turf. You'll get a trigger from Amulet. Going to have to return a land, of course. Going to pick up the Gemstone Mine. Going to be able to reset that. Pass the turn back over to Jeff.
Yeah, which is not really a drawback. I mean, he just gets to reset his Gemstone Mine.
Jeff with the Steam Fence. He'll pass the turn back. Here's Stirrings. Take a look at those top 5 cards. Will Tad. Looks like it's going to be Cavern of Souls, which is a nice find here, assuming there's a Primeval Titan in hand. Can make it uncounterable.
Yeah, Tad does have 2 copies of Cavern in his list. I think most people are just down to the 1.
But you do find that to be a pretty useful tool in this deck.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the blue decks are trying to interact with you with things like Remand, so.
Gemstone Mine, and now it'll be a Transmute of Teleria West.
So I believe Tad has a Summoner's Pact in hand already. Yeah, it's possible that he could just go get a backup copy, but if he knows what deck Jeff is playing, which is kind of likely since Jeff made top 8 with it last weekend, maybe you just want the pack to protect yourself.
Pact Negation is what Teleria West did find.
And if you use Cavern of Souls to play the Primeval Titan, chances are there's not a lot Jeff can do about the 6/6.
A Mountain is land number 6 here for Jeff. So we're going to head back over to Macaraeg. There's the Cavern. We'll get confirmation on what it's naming. My assumption is Giant for Primeval Titan. And now here's a Summoner's Pact. That's going to resolve.
What do you think this is going to get?
It could be anything. But it looks like it's going to be a Primeval Titan. And now this is where the fun begins. Now, we saw Chris Van Meter at our Season 2 Invitational get a runner-up finish with this deck. We've seen players like Tom Martell and Alexander Hayne, Sam Black, Justin Cohen have a lot of success with this deck. There are a lot of different ways you can go with Primeval Titan once you cast it in this deck.
Well, when you have an Amulet in play, I think the easy one is to just get the Slayer Stronghold and a Boros Garrison, but looks like Jeff is just going to cycle a Remand.
Yeah, one thing you can do with Remand is you can target a spell with it. Even though you don't counter it, you still get to draw a card. So that's exactly what Jeff does do in that situation. Now here comes the Titan. And you mentioned Slayer Stronghold plus Boros Garrison. Looks like maybe Radiant Fountain is on the agenda here.
Well, since Tad had Mana Confluence, he was at 18 life, which is kind of the magic number for Scapeshift on 7 lands. You can search for a Valakut and 6 mountains to deal 18.
Okay.
And since Tad already cast Summoner's Pact, he might not be able to pay for that and a Pact of Negation on a Scapeshift.
Okay, I like what's going on here. So now you're going to get a copy of Serum Visions. That's going to be hit by a Remand as well. That's actually a pretty heads-up play there. Instead of just maybe trying to go for Boros Garrison plus Slayer Stronghold or something like that, get yourself out of Scapeshift range as there's a Watery Grave from Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that Jeff could have it's possible that Jeff could have tapped him down with Cryptic, but it looks like
Oh,
Summoner's Pact did
no.
not get paid for.
Oh, no. Maybe that's Jeff's out in that situation. Jeez.
Maybe. I believe he flashed his hand that might have just been 4 land.
Oh, boy. Oh, Tad. There's a clause on Summoner's Pact. If you don't pay, you do lose the game. And Tad took his turn much too quickly there to not pay for the Summoner's Pact and now loses the game as a result. So Jeff Hoogland is going to win game number 1 here over Tad Macaraeg.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because he was setting things up really nicely, like making sure to put himself out of scape shift range and make sure that he could like pay for both packs on one turn if he had to, or at least, you know, like not put him in a situation where he could not pay for both. But yeah, oops.
Oops, indeed. Well, we're going to take a look at the sideboards now. We will start with Amulet Bloom here from Tad Macaraeg, and he has 3 copies of Leyline Sanctity, 2 Thragtusk, 2 Swan Song, a Ghost Quarter, a Dragon Lord Dromoka, a Hornet Queen.
2 Seal of Primordium.
Yeah, we got 2 Pyroclasms, and then a Slaughter Pact. Okay, fair enough. What do we like here?
It looked like Tad just grabbed a fistful of cards. He had like all the ley lines, probably the Swan Songs. It's possible that the Ghost Quarter can come in. Like, that's a thing that might be able to disrupt the Scapeshift deck if they're a little sloppy. Since Jeff has played this deck a bunch, and I assume, you know, it looked like Tad knew what his opponent was playing, so I don't think that you would go down that route, but probably just Leyline, Swan Songs, maybe Thragtusk.
Some good options.
Yeah.
Other side of things here for Jeff. He's got 4 Obstinate and Balos, a Negate of Nature's Claim, a Glenelender, Archmage, a Shatterstorm, Crows and Grip, Engineered Explosives, 2 Spellskites, 2 Anger of the Gods, and a singleton copy of Slaughter Games.
I think the key card here is going to be the Slaughter Games.
Okay.
And since Jeff has the 3 copies of Bring to Light, I believe he has 3.
He is working with 4 actually this weekend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he went down on Escape Shift actually.
Okay, fair enough.
So, yeah, so now he can Bring to Light for X is 4 basically. Find the Slaughter Games, take out all of his opponent's Primeval Titans, and it's going to be pretty tough for Tad to actually win because his deck is built around making Primeval Titan good. So he still has Hive Minds and then maybe the Thragtusk or whatever backup creature he brought in to win with, but it's going to be a lot tougher.
Well, these players will shuffle up here for game number 2. Tad Macaraeg will be on the play with his Amulet Bloom deck. We're talking Fall Creature Collection now here with the Open Series. That means we've got playmat sleeves and bundles of some of our favorite game night creatures like the Hippo, the Otter, and the Reindeer. And now Patrick says that this is difficult to say. So I'm going to give you a shot here with Penguillian Click.
Penguillian Click.
See, that's not that hard.
I had to think about it, though. Therefore, it's tough.
Well, you just have to take a moment because it's a little bit strange to say Penguillian Click. But once you do it, boom, it's simple. It's on playmats, it's on sleeves, it's on bundles. StarCityGames.com/creature collection for more information about these awesome products. We'll have the winter line for you guys at the beginning of next year. So look forward to that as we get ready here for game number 2 between Macaraeg and Hoogland. Amulet Bloom, Scape Shift, some combo decks in the format as we start things off with an Ancient Stirrings off of a Gemstone Mine. Gotta remember to pay those packs.
Yeah, it's tough. They do have a drawback.
Yes, or they would be far too good of Magic cards. Jeff will take a look at his hand. Both players did keep 7 here. He'll start things off with a Breeding Pool, then on the battlefield tapped. Back over to Macaraeg we go. He does have an Amulet. We saw these get countered in the last game. Now we have, so we might have the nut draw here. Summer Bloom, do this a couple of times.
Make 6 mana.
See, when you drop Primeval Titan, don't need to pay for a pack.
That's true.
This is easy mode now. Now, this isn't exactly a turn 2 kill, at least I don't think so, but we're pretty close. He's going to get Boros Garrison and a copy of Slayer Stronghold. Primeval Titan's going to come in. It's got 8 power, it's got haste, you'll get another trigger here. We'll see what Lancey wants to search for this time. Looks like a Kessig Wolf Run.
I think that was the Ghost Quarter.
It was a Ghost Quarter, okay. Ghost Quarter to go along with a Simic Growth Chamber.
Yeah, and he does not have Ghost Quarter main deck, so that did come in out of the sideboard.
Okay. Not a bad turn 2.
It's above average.
You did okay. I've seen worse plays.
Some people are content to just play a Tarmogoyf.
So now Jeff's just going to pick up his land and get ready for it. Isn't Modern great?
Yeah.
I think it's great.
That was just a real good, close game of Magic.
See, the really good thing about this is that we have time for a backup match, most likely.
Yeah.
Assuming the backup matches aren't going this fast. So there you go.
The feature matches were put at the correct tables.
Correct. This is beautiful. So now Tad Macaraeg, getting a little bit of redemption there with a turn 2 kill. Jeff will pick up his 1 breeding pool and move on to the next game as these players will just shuffle quickly and very quietly. Neither one, as you can tell here, can look each other in the eyes based off of what's just happened here.
If you just turn 2 killed your opponent, could you look him in the eyes? I mean, I know you personally could.
I'm a monster.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that assessment. But if you're anyone else in the room, it's just like I'm kind of sorry, but not really. Like you chose to play the deck for a reason, right?
It's true. Tad is he's got his head buried in his deck right now. Jeff just looking away, just frustrated. One game, you have to point out to your opponent you didn't pay your pack, you lose. The other one, oh yeah, fine, I'll kill you on turn 2. Do you want to play a third game? Well, we're going to have one here in just a moment. That's for sure, between Amulet Bloom and Scapeshift. In the meantime, we're talking about Jeff Hoogland, number 19 on our Season 4 leaderboard. We saw him play in the Players' Championship last year. He's got an invitational top 8 in Season 3 of 2014. 10 Open Series top 8s on the resume for the 24-year-old from Bloomington, Illinois. Stay-at-home dad with 2 awesome sons. Got a master's degree in mathematics. That's why you see some of the crazy mana bases here from him. And a big fan of coding projects, including Linux, I believe it is pronounced. I'm not really a coding guy.
Me neither. I have no idea.
I understand. Not much of a coding guy. But Jeff, we could also throw on there, loves to brew, loves to build kind of crazy decks, always very much against the grain. So
also loves Modern.
Yeah, he's a Modern aficionado. That's for gosh darn sure. If you are following him on Twitter, he is always posting about Modern. He's always looking to break the format. And he always does well in the format, too. His resume in the format, if you see his win percentage, it's pretty high.
Yeah, I think they're like the people that used to play Birthing Pod, right? Like obviously their win percentages were very, very good, but it's like Jeff was like right there with them, I think.
And he's always doing it his own way with kind of crazy decks, as he's got this Scapeshift deck with 4 copies of Bring to Light, some crazy sideboard options here as well. Now, I don't know how good this matchup is for him. There's not a lot he can do about that draw that we saw in the last game.
Yeah, not when he's on the draw. I mean, in game 1, he had the Izzet Charms to slow down Tad, but yeah, when you're on the draw, there's not a lot anyone can do, really.
One thing about Amulet Bloom, this deck really picked up a lot of popularity after Justin Cohen's runner-up performance at the Pro Tour, and people were talking about maybe Amulet of Vigor needs to be banned, some pieces of this deck need to go, all that stuff. You just see Amulet of Vigor resolve here off a Radiant Fountain. They're going to bring Tad up to 22. I'd say it's waned in popularity recently. That doesn't mean the deck has gotten any less great. Maybe people are starting to actually attack it in a certain way now, though.
It's possible. It could just be like, there's the potential threat of it getting banned too, so people might just be like, maybe I don't want to pick this deck up.
Okay, that's fair. Slayer Stronghold past the turn back. The question now is, does Tad have one of those Ravnica bounce lands? Does he actually have colored mana? You see there's a copy of Sleight of Hand over there. It looks like he does have a Sludge and a Sanctuary in hand, so looks like he's doing at least okay on the colored mana front. A Steam Fence here from Jeff, and he'll pass the turn back.
Yeah, I think the big question for this game is not necessarily if Tad has the Karoo or not. It's whether Jeff can interact with either a Primeval Titan or an Amulet.
Here is Sleight of Hand off a Gemstone Mine. See if Jeff wants to maybe use a Remand here on this. Looks like this is going to resolve. One card goes to the grip, the other goes to the bottom. Slight's done resolving. We're going to head back over to Jeff.
And Tad actually picked up a second copy of Amulet.
Okay.
So, might have some pretty explosive turns here coming up.
It also appears he's playing very carefully around Izzet Charm.
Yeah.
Given what it did in the last game.
Yep.
Summer Bloom, I think, is the draw.
Is it time?
There's a Sunholm in the grip. There are a couple of lands over there. You saw Sakura Tri-Belter for Jeff last turn. Here is Sunholm, maybe. Yep. That's
it can be a little awkward when you draw those lands that you really want to tutor out of your deck.
Yeah, he's found the Slayer Stronghold and the Sunholm here this game. And now here's an attempt at Summer Bloom. He says, I'm done playing around Izzet Charm. You have it or not? Do you have Remand? What do you got here? Gonna start by sacrificing Sakura Tri-Belter. Gonna get a land out of the deck, and then I think cast Remand after that. Maybe up his percentages of drawing a relevant card.
And there's the math. The math comes into play.
Indeed.
It's small, but it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have enough lands already.
Basic Island is the weapon of choice. Now here's the Remand. We'll see what the draw is. Didn't get a great look at it. Was another copy of Remand. Now he's drawing a copy of a Swamp.
Unfortunately, past this turn, I think Remand is mostly going to be dead because he can play the Karoo, get the 2 triggers from Amulet of Vigor, untap it, add 2 mana, untap it, add 2 mana, and then return something to your hand, and then you have just enough green mana to work with, I think.
Simic Growth Chamber was the draw this turn, so that's going to come in. You'll get Amulet triggers, bunch of mana. Here's Summer Bloom.
So 2 blue and a green floating.
Look at you keeping up.
1 land drop has been made.
Yep. 3 more to go.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Could see Cryptic Command here from Jeff.
We do. Aha, see, we have little handy figurines here.
Yeah, for the Storm players.
Yes,
But
for your Eric Hawkins of the world.
don't forget Caleb.
Also true, he's here this weekend,
Yep.
probably playing Storm. Summer Bloom will get countered. Jeff will cantrip. Now here's Titan. No mana floating. Jeff does have Remand, so he's going to cast that. Going to have to cash in that Misty Rainforest to do so.
And Tad is left with just 3 colorless lands and 2 amulets, I guess.
But again, he does have Civic Growth Chamber in hand, also has Legend of Sanctuary, so he can just keep presenting Titan over and over and over again, assuming that he gets another turn.
That is true. He is at 22, but if Jeff does have land drop plus accelerator, I know he has Scape Shift in his hand, and he has 2 draw steps coming with the Remand.
Steam Vents was the draw off the Remand. And now Jeff will draw. I think he picked up another copy of Remand.
Yeah, this is basically what Scape Shift wants to do. Just, it's not too concerned with actually dealing with its opponent's threats permanently. It just needs to buy enough time to put some lands into play and then eventually kill your opponent.
There's Tribelder.
So now he needs a land drop and a green source, but does not have the green source.
That's what he's short on. Got it. So no kill yet this turn. But he's got some good defense with those 2 Remands.
Yeah, so earlier when he sacked his Tribelder, he had to get another island so he could have that Cryptic plus Remand turn. And it kind of bites him, but not really. It makes it so he can't kill this turn, but I think he might still be okay, depending on what Tad has.
Growth Chamber, add some mana from Amulet. Here's a Titan, Remanded again. Jeff will get to draw a card. All Macaraeg can do is pass the turn back.
I think that might have been another spot where maybe he wanted to cash in the Tribelder first, but I don't think it really matters. I think he just has the kill this turn, so.
He'll draw a card. Picked up a copy of Is It Charm. One thing you always got to do with the Escape Shift deck, you kind of got to do the mountain count too with Valakut, because he's already got a Steam Vents out there. Looks like he might have multiple copies of Steam Vents out there. 3 of them.
3 and a mountain. Yeah, and 2 mountains in his hand, so he might actually be short a kill. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've definitely messed this up before, so.
All right, he's going to sacrifice the Tribelder now.
Not even going to attack for 1 first.
Missing out on the value.
Probably just going to kill his opponent instead.
Going to get a basic island.
Yes.
And now it's time to cast Scape Shift.
Yeah, so when you have 7 lands, it's generally good for 18 damage. When you have more than that, that means you can add an additional Valakut into the mix. So, could be dealing upwards of like 40 damage here, as long as he doesn't sack too many mountains.
His hand's weird because he's got a Stomping Ground and a Steam Vents in hand. So we don't see this a ton.
I think he's just going to get 4 mountains, 2 Valakuts, and then play a mountain for another 6 if he needs to.
Okay. Because he hasn't played a land yet this turn.
Correct.
So he's going to sacrifice 5 lands.
Yeah, double checking, making sure that, you're not doing too much or too little. He does have the Cinder Glade, which is a mountain.
So there's 2 Valakuts. He sacrificed 6 lands, excuse me.
Yeah, so 4 mountains, 2 Valakuts.
Okay. You do get triggers off this, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's 24.
Yeah, that's going to be more than enough. Jeff Hoogland is going to win this match here over Tad Macaraeg. 2-1. Scape Shift will take care of Amulet Bloom. And there's a little taste of what combo looks like in this format. On one side, you've got a very explosive, fast combo deck in Amulet Bloom. On the other, you've got more of a resilient one here in Scape Shift. And the resilient one able to get things done here for Jeff, based off of a little bit of mana issues, I think, there for Tad with the colorless lands, but also some timely counter magic.
I think he just really needed maybe a Pact of Negation, a Swan Song, Cavernous Soul.